Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here with another Wednesday episode sponsored by Gray Fox Games. So
The day before Thanksgiving.
yes,
Everyone-
as you're listening to it.
Yes. Everyone that is listening to this is hopefully in the midst of all of their travel plans.
Yeah. So we'll
Or
give
not
them
travel plans.
a nice long episode that will last them through all of the delays at the airport.
No.
Long car rides.
Or they're not in the United States, in which case it's just Wednesday.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Wasn't Canadian Thanksgiving like last month?
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah. I remember the Canadians in the Slack were talking about that at some point.
Yes.
I assume they all know each other as well.
Correct. Small
Yeah,
place.
small country.
Canada.
Canada's a pretty small place, yeah.
I haven't had a whole lot going on. I didn't really do anything exciting in the last week. It's been pretty chill. Looked for jobs. Actively job seeking.
Job fared.
Yeah, I did 3 job fairs last week.
Nice.
They were
How did you fare at that?
they were all terrible.
It is a job fair.
Yeah. I've heard that people find jobs at those things, but I don't know what jobs you find at those things that aren't objectively terrible. I did find the one job that interviewed me, and I thought the interview went really well,
And then they ghosted you?
and then they fucking ghosted me.
This is better than them catfishing you?
It's true.
I
You could be
guess
minus one.
supposedly.
You could be minus one kidney right now.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's like negative $25,000.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I-
Not only did you lose something, they gained money off of it. So, yeah.
makes me feel good that they wasted $1,400 to ghost me.
Yeah.
So fuck them for that. Maybe, I don't know.
Unless they're listening to this right now.
Yeah.
They're like, nope. Now it's definitely no.
Yeah, they were just researching me.
All of a sudden,
as a
you
candidate.
get a bill for $1,400.
Sorry we didn't hire you, but you do need to pay all this back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been about it. Megan got back on Wednesday from her Colombia trip. She had a really good time, and then she has proceeded to work the next 6 days in a row. So she's now on shift 5 of night shifts. Tomorrow will be her last night shift, and then we'll be going out to my grandparents for Thanksgiving. So,
Huzzah.
yeah, pretty uneventful, but that's me. What about you guys? Do you do anything more exciting this week?
I had my my dad and stepmom come and visit finally, and I showed them a bunch of good food places. But because of that, I didn't get to work most of Wednesday through Friday, and so pretty much my entire time when they weren't here was working, including last night working until 2 a.m. to get my last couple rides.
Brutal.
Yeah, and then I had to wake up at 7 a.m. this morning to go take David to the airport.
Ouch.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That's why we had to play Blood Bowl.
Mm-hmm. So I am very tired.
Yeah.
And I currently have my hoodie on because I don't want to accidentally see the light. Because when I am tired, my eyes hate direct light.
Yeah. From our one bulb hanging from the ceiling still.
Yep.
The one bear bulb. It's so that when I torture people, I can reach up and smack it, and it swings and
Mhm.
gives that really ominous effect.
Are you sure I feel like it's less of a reach and more of a jump.
I could reach up and smack that. It's not that high. Jeez.
I don't think you could reach it right now
Not from where I am. No.
I'd
because
like to
you're on
see,
the ground.
but I would like to see you jump at it from there.
There's no way that would end well.
No, you'd probably hit Zach with a kneecap or something.
Just the cap.
Just the
Yeah.
cap.
I'd almost want to see that happen.
Just take a knee for the team there.
Kneecap.
Just the cap.
Just the cap.
We'll remove your cap and throw it at Zach really hard.
Whoa.
That's what he said he'd take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he said as I jump for the light.
You're clearly not all in on this team sacrifice.
No, you're
portion.
not.
No. I'm gonna have a very hard time jumping for the light if you take my kneecap.
Well, you're not a team player. That's what I'm hearing.
I've heard they're superfluous anyways.
They almost certainly are not.
Like an appendix. What were we talking? We were
We're talking about Harry Houdini.
Yeah, at the Friendsgiving on Sunday and how he died.
Yes.
I don't remember
did indeed
how
die.
that came up.
I mean, how do conversations ever it's really hard to trace them from one part to another.
I can do it usually in the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, remembering after the fact, it's hard to.
But he died from a burst appendix because
Mhm.
some guy was like, "You can take hard hits, right?" And then just fucking sucker punched him in the appendix.
While he was sitting down.
Yeah,
What?
Yep.
I did not know that about
and
Harry
died of a
Houdini.
ruptured appendix.
Yeah.
Gross. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Guy was a real dick
Yeah.
that punched Harry Houdini.
Yeah, not Harry Houdini.
Well,
He may have been a dick.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know enough about Harry Houdini to say he's not an asshole.
Yeah, fair point.
Harry, who knows?
Jesus. So as I mentioned, it was a really boring week, so I didn't really even get to play many games. Megan got back on Wednesday, and we were going to go to game night, but then we got home, and she started unpacking and, like, getting settled, and she was like, I don't really feel like going. And I was like, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, so fuck game night. I'm just going to hang out with you.
Yeah.
So I didn't really play much. The only thing I have played is in the evenings when she's been at work a few times, I've busted out my Tramways Engineer's Notebook that I had gotten, I don't know, about a month ago.
Solo.
Did you only get it a month ago? It feels like you backed it so long ago.
No, I backed it back.
Well, it was a Kickstarter, a different Kickstarter thing.
Well, the
Tramways,
Kickstarter
right?
also included like all of Tramway stuff, but it was only back in like June or something. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, Tramways was a long time ago.
Yeah, Tramways was a long, long time ago, but the engineer's workbook or whatever wasn't that long ago. I'm a little disappointed. Originally it was supposed to be every page was supposed to be dry erase, so you could just go through and do them at your leisure there. But they had some kind of an issue during printing where they didn't end up that way, and so they just sent you 2 pieces of like clear plastic, like clear sheeting that you stick on each of the 2 pages, and you just write on that, and you have to then erase from that and then move it to the next puzzle and move it to the next puzzle. And that's kind of annoying, especially right now where like just this morning Megan started trying it, and so she's doing the earlier puzzles and I'm on the later puzzles, and so having to go back and forth, like I can't leave a puzzle like half done. Like it just doesn't really work. I'm up to puzzle 8. They're interesting. I'm hoping that maybe when I get further into it, they'll get into more of what I was hoping to get out of this, but so far they aren't quite what I was looking for. For as much as I like playing Tramways, it's not giving me the same feeling of like trying to figure out how to do my train. And
Well, it also doesn't have the auction in it either.
It doesn't have the auction, which I do really like the auction. But even the main gameplay of like managing your cards and things like that is just different in this one, and I'm not sure it's working as well for me.
It was an interesting idea for
Yeah.
them to come out with, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've still been like rolling through the. I'm up to 8, already in just
How
a
many
few days.
Total?
50, I
50?
think.
Okay. Yeah. So you're just in the intro world.
Yeah, and that is one of the neat things they do is like every so often, every 1 or 2 scenarios, they're introducing a new concept that then you have to work with. Like it was kind of funny, or interesting, not really funny. You go through like scenarios 1 through 5, and in those, the win condition is always get rid of all of the passengers that are on all the buildings, and that's your only goal. Then in scenario 6, they introduce earning money for moving along the track. And then the goal is no longer to get all of the people sent, it's to earn a certain amount of money. And it kind of completely shifts how you have to kind of plan your game. Because all of a sudden now you can, when you're just trying to earn money, you can fuck off one building and leave a person sitting on it. Whereas in those earlier ones, you needed to connect every building to your network and be shipping to and from almost every building. So the one I'm on right now, the goal is to have all the people gone and earn $105 in like 7 turns. And on my last playthrough of it this afternoon before Megan woke up, I got all the people cleared and $104. I was fucking pissed. And I tried a couple times more, like doing various different starts, and I could tell I was getting nowhere near. So I don't know. I almost want to replay exactly kind of what I did there and just make sure I didn't do a math error and miss like a buck, because yeah, I don't know how I could improve on that 104. So, but apparently there's a way to, so who knows? I'll keep trying for a little bit. So far, I haven't gotten too frustrated to where I've had to look anything up yet. I've gotten close, but I've usually solved it like 1 or 2 plays after I get to the point where it's like, if I don't find this in the next hour, I'm going to look it up. But it's okay. It gives me something to do when there's nothing else to do. So there's that.
That is nice.
Yes.
That is something.
Zach, what about you? What have you played?
Not much. Taught Hanamikoji to somebody, and as usual, destroyed them in the first game.
Destroyed them.
But as usual, also, they are immediately like, oh, I get the game now. Let's play again.
And crush you.
And crush me. Well, that one, it took her to the 3rd game to beat me.
Okay.
And I basically fucked myself in the beginning of the 2nd round. I threw away 2 cards, but I probably should have thrown away 2 other ones. And I was sort of, it just didn't end up working out for me. And so it's still a lot of fun. Played Kanagawa, which is another Japanese
and it
game.
has
It's art.
like a mat thing.
It's like a sushi roller, except it's a mat for the different cards, and it's you're doing portrait or paintings that you have either this landscape, or you turn the cards around and you have them in your studio that gives you access to other colors and special abilities and stuff like that. That one went pretty well. I think I didn't do well on that one though. It went well like in terms of enjoying it, but at least one turn I took 3 cards and I couldn't paint a single one of them. So I had to just flip them all over, and they had garbage for their special powers. So that was about it. Like I said, this past week was either hanging out with parents or working. So I didn't really do much.
So what I played in our race to play the most amount of things related to Between Two Castles, I played Castles of Mad King Ludwig for the very first time.
Yeah, that was my first time playing it as well.
It was hard to remember how to say all of the different names because there's Castles of Mad King Ludwig, Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and Palaces
of Mad King Ludwig.
And then also kind of Suburbia.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also Subdivision, and then Between Two Cities. It's just,
It's getting very complicated.
Yes.
In that universe.
Speaking of complicated, Castles of Mad King Ludwig. It's an interesting game. I really like...
That's one word for it.
Yeah. I like the setup where you're just sort of putting all of these weird pieces together.
Especially if you're like Adrian and you get a thing that fits exactly, like it just fit exactly where you needed it to.
Yeah.
That happened to you a lot, that whole game.
It happened to me a couple times. There are also like 2 different occasions where I had misplaced, or if I'd placed something like one slight bit further on the hallway, something else would have fit gloriously.
Yep.
Well, you had the Sleepy Time Castle after all.
Yes.
Yeah. All sleeping rooms.
And I did 2 hallways end to end when really I should have done a hallway and then a stairs down.
Yeah. Which fucked you.
It super fucked me in the end.
Because I super fucked you because of that.
I have not been beaten that thoroughly at a game that I didn't hate in a long time. It's an important caveat, because usually if I don't hate games, there's a reason for it. And it's because they're excessively random.
Well, it's definitely one where, like, it was your first time for both of you, whereas I'd played it many times. So I was already at an advantage there, knowing certain things. And then Adrian...
So when you factor in Zach's handicap, you actually won, Jeff.
I don't know about that.
You did better than you were supposed to, Jeff. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Because at least you got the auctioning down, or the bidding down to, whereas Adrian just
threw whatever the fuck on whatever the fuck.
That was not at all what I did. Just because I didn't read you guys very well in placing the right costs.
I mean, you moved shit more than enough times to I feel like you just threw it down.
That's true. That's true.
It just became random at that point.
Nonsense.
And I was putting it down apparently pretty well. It is an interesting auction mechanic because you have to pay the person who's the master builder that turn. So I was sitting on a big pile of money, which was unfortunately just 1K off at the very end of the game that would have let me get like everything I wanted. I don't think it would have put me into the lead.
No.
But it still was a really lengthy last turn for me of trying to get the order of mechanics between extra bonuses and when I get them and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I was riding that line for money very tight for most of the game.
Yeah, I probably could have spent some money earlier, but I wouldn't have gotten that awesome last turn had I done that. And then I totally fucked Adrian by basically buying out all the hallways and stairwells.
And the one or two shapes that he needed.
Yeah, that was the big thing that really fucked me is I had a tile that was like score, like the little cards that give you bonuses at the end of the game. I had one that was score 8 points if you have one of every shape. And I had it planned out to where there was a big circle that I was going to buy. And then I was going to be able to buy like my last shape. Like those are the only 2 shapes I didn't have. And then Jeff bought the big, I thought he was going to buy the big dungeon circle. Instead he bought the big room circle.
Yep.
Because he took one of the longest turns I've ever seen Jeff take. And in the end he was like doing the dungeon thing. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is working out. This is working out. And all of a sudden he was like, that's only going to give me like 5 points. I'll just do this one. It's going to give me like 7. It's like, no. So,
and it was great.
Well, I was like, but I don't really, I don't even need this dungeon piece. I can just use something completely else.
Yeah. As soon as he realized that it was crushing, like, he was like, actually, I don't even really need this one. No.
Well, and then at the end of the end of that last round, I put the dungeon piece because you didn't have any money on the actual last round. Jeff, you had spent everything.
I know. This was the second to last.
Yeah,
round.
So the last round, I was like, it doesn't matter where anything goes.
No, I have no money.
You have no money, and I didn't care about what Adrian was gonna buy. I just took that big old dungeon circle, the one that big one that you wanted. It's gonna put it right at $1,000 because it was like, oh, well, I'm the only one that can buy that, so I'll just put that there and fuck everything else.
I'll take 5K for my turn, and that's it.
The other thing you did on that turn that fucked me, Jeff, besides taking that big round one that I forgot about, was I was in a position where I needed 2 more turns to get the 2 pieces.
Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you took 1 extra. You were able to finish one of your rooms that gave you a bonus action, so you bought 1 more tile, which emptied the deck, which triggers the end of the game.
Just killed.
And so I didn't even get that last turn that I needed. So
well, that's why I had like $22,000 or marks.
You
or
had a
whatever.
shitload of money.
Yeah, I had a shitload of money.
I actually finished much closer.
You were within line of sight of my score piece on the score track.
We were on the same row there.
Yeah.
And I just blew past you guys. So
you weren't that far ahead.
I was
like around the next corner.
I was around the second to the next corner. It was this and then a loop over there, and I was over there.
I didn't think you were more than 10 points ahead of Jeff.
I don't remember.
I don't know. But I was impressed. I got up to catching up to that final row because for most of the game, you guys had both like doubled my score on that track.
Yeah.
Well, you ended up getting the living room and sleeping room
bonuses.
Some of the end
bonuses.
bonuses.
Yeah. And then one of my cards, the only card that ended up scoring anything for me really was the bonuses for sleepy rooms.
Yeah.
And I had the sleepy castle.
Yes, you did.
But I liked it. I don't know if I like it more than Suburbia, but I could see we were talking about it a little bit after the game, and you mentioned, Zach, that like how in Suburbia it gets bogged down because it's like I add something, I need to see how it interacts with everything, and then all the other players need to see how that interacts with, then I see how it interacts with their cities, and then they see how that interacts with their cities, and it just there's a lot that happens every single turn.
It's like deck builders in that once you play an app version of it, you're like,
bye.
Oh god, this is so much just tediousness that you have to go through.
Yeah, and automated scoring helps that game a lot.
Yeah, it does.
But I do have to say, Castles of Mad King Ludwig plays a little long, but I think that's more of the decision making. That
it has more decisions you have to do in the game. Yeah. So,
but it was enjoyable. Had fun little castles, crazy castles at the end. And then the next new thing that I played was Keyforge. Played it Wednesday at game night. Mike Jones had bought a couple decks. Didn't buy the starter set, so we didn't have any of the components really for it. But the 2 decks that he did buy didn't have any matching symbols or factions or whatever they call them.
Because there's 7 different ones. Yeah, and 3 and 3. Yeah.
It was an interesting game because there's like no life bar. Like you're not attacking the person, getting them to 0 life. It's all about getting amber, and then you can get more than 6, but for every 6 you have at the beginning of your turn, you can buy a key. First person to 3 keys wins. Keyforge.
Right.
The name. So you have a deck of 36 cards, 12 of each faction. They're all shuffled together. I'm getting the number right. And then you draw a hand of like 5 or 6, depending if you're first or second player. And out of your hand, there's no mana or anything in this game. It's just you
choose a faction.
Declare a faction, and you can play everything out of your hand that's from that faction for free.
Or use any of those cards
that are already played after the first turn. Different than Magic, it's when something takes damage, it keeps the damage. It won't reset or anything like that. So you need a lot of counters to keep track of damage.
Yeah.
A lot of the different items. So there's like action cards that are spells. Then there's the creatures. And then there's a lot of text and words and things like that on there that you can't tell what they are. Because apparently even the rule book that comes with Keyforge doesn't have all the key terminology in it.
Fantastic.
Because they want a living rule book online so they can
errata
everything and stuff like that. But you never have like, it's like, all right, let me pull out my phone to go look up what Omni does, which wasn't super clear what even Omni does. So I trounced him. I ended up getting a bunch of creatures out. I had this one card that let me copy an action card from like his discard pile. And it was just, and one of his action cards was declare a something, get the creatures out of your discard pile into your hand, and then I would just use his action card that would make him discard them straight out of his hand over and over.
Nice.
So there's a lot of cool like resource stealing and capturing. So like I can steal amber to my side, or I can capture amber onto a creature. Once he destroys the creature, he gets the amber back.
Yeah.
But it's ways to delay like their buildup of points.
Yeah, and the foraging of the keys, because
Yeah.
that's how you win.
Yeah.
So
and then there's like the one thing I wasn't super clear on was reap. That's kind of how you get all of the money. You kind of just tap them, trademarked, and and then some have special reap powers that they'll get something extra, and others are just like of that faction, and then you just get as much resources as you reaped with, I think. And then there's certain things that can't reap, and it was interesting. Not as random as I thought it would be for like a unique card game.
Yeah.
Besides, I mean, the deck having 12 of 3 different faction cards in it. But it's also a random number of each of those cards, so you can have some crazy, like, I have a ton of these artifact things, or maybe I have no artifact things. But it also comes with a card list. So at some point, you'll just get all of the cards. I could see this game becoming constructed at some point, though, just because you can do that.
Right. Like
you just have to sleeve.
Well, an unofficial sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely an unofficial way. Because it's not like each individual card is random.
No.
You just get random cards.
Yeah.
So you can technically collect the whole set and construct at some point if you sleeve, because I think the card backs all have that unique symbol or something on them.
Yeah.
And they all definitely have the name of the
that deck.
That deck on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of them potentially very unfortunate.
And some of them also hilarious, which we'll get to later.
Yeah. I saw a thing where somebody was saying there's one on eBay that is rapidly approaching $200 bid for like a deck for some.
Just
I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's
probably
because of the name
a good deck.
Yeah,
I would assume.
So, but that was one of my concerns when I first heard about this. Is like, as the decks are kind of randomly constructed, like I feel like you could easily just get hosed and get some really weak decks.
Yep,
and that
100%
sucks.
Now there is a balancing mechanic in the game. It's called chain. Certain cards are more powerful than others, but when you play them, it's like you gain 2 chains. When you have a chain, you draw up to 1 less card every turn until those chains sort of run down. Once you get to like 6 chains, then it's like 2 less cards. Once you get to 12 chains, it's 3 less cards. But every turn they sort of cool down. So if you have something really powerful, you're going to be getting less cards.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting kind of balancing mechanic in there.
A kind of a heavier game Slack that I'm involved in now, they were actually talking about a little bit, which surprised me. But one of the people was saying that he was a little disappointed because he felt it wasn't as deep as Magic, which I felt was an odd complaint considering this just came out and Magic's got like 20 years worth of development and meta and everything behind it. 30 years, a ton. But I could see that also, like, especially in Magic where you can really any game where you can pick every card in your deck and really optimize your deck.
Yeah.
I think is going to have more depth than something like this, but that doesn't necessarily mean this isn't good.
No.
I don't think it's really a fair comparison to compare the two.
But also coming from someone that doesn't generally like CCGs or trading card games or anything like that, it's still also that level of too much to where here's all these keywords. There's no way to find out what those keywords are on the cards. You have to go online to try and figure out what those keywords are.
Yeah.
So it's even like too much for some people that just don't know that stuff.
Right on.
Yeah. Zach, you bought a bunch.
Yeah. Not a bunch, but I was definitely when I came here when we were getting ready to play a bunch of those games, I was like, all right, you know me, right? You guys know me, so you shouldn't be surprised. And I just threw 4 of the decks on the table. So we'll see. A little bit I want to try it, and also it was hey, maybe I'll get a fucked up name.
Yeah.
It did not,
No.
unfortunately. I got one that was okay, but I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
Some sort of like maimed prophet or something like that. But
Yeah.
now that the game's out, some of those weird ones have been coming out, so
Yeah.
hear about those later.
Indeed. That wraps up what we've been playing. Before we move on to the Bloody Minute, which there is an excessive Bloody Minute this week.
A bloody half hour.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hold on to your butts.
Bloody 3 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, we're gonna go 5 minutes, minute per match.
Okay. But before that, I did forget earlier when I was talking about, what I was up to this week. I forgot one of the most exciting pieces of news. The Denver Broncos won a fucking football game. They beat the Chargers, which is great because fuck the Chargers. And it was a close game, and I was sure we were going to lose because we've been in... I saw a stat where, like, the Chiefs twice, the Jets, the Rams, and the Texans, those 5 teams we lost by a total, if you combine all the games, we lost by a total of like 6 points, 8 points. Like basically we keep losing games by like 1 or 2 points. And sure shit, in this game, we were down like 1 or 2. We're down
20.
Yeah.
19 to 21.
Yeah, 19 to 21. We were down 2 points with like 2 minutes to go, and the Chargers had the ball, and I was like, well, we're fucked. We ended up kind of holding them. So it was 3rd down, and they were on like 3rd and 7 with like right after the 2-minute warning. So 2 minutes left in the game. If Phillip Rivers takes the ball, takes a knee, they run 30 odd seconds off the clock and then punt the ball, and we get it with like less than a minute and a half. If they get a first down, they just kneel and win out the game. So they went for getting the first down with a pass play, and Phillip Rivers just threw the ball into the ground. Like, it didn't look like he even tried to get it to a receiver. And so he stopped the clock, so we get the ball back with like a minute 58 instead of like a minute 20, and went down the field. And despite one of the most egregiously bad offensive pass interference calls I've ever seen in the NFL, we were able to get right down to field goal range, spiked the ball with 2 seconds left, and went out and kicked the game-winning field goal twice because they iced the kicker, and he still managed to nail it. And so yeah,
and this was after what could have been a game-ending turnover or fumble but like I'm assuming like he took like 2 steps while catching the ball, and then the guy like hit it out with his shoulder.
Yeah,
they rolled
incomplete.
Yeah, they rolled it incomplete.
Yep. But I didn't get to watch most of the game. I was playing D&D on Sunday morning before the Friendsgiving thing. But I got to catch the very end there. I was following it all on the TV or on my app. I mean, and like really getting excited. And then D&D was done. I was like, all right, I got to go watch the rest of this game. I don't know why, because I expected us to get crushed and lose, but we didn't. We won. So,
hooray!
Our 6-game winning streak to close the season and end. Because I want us to end with a 8-8 or better record.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we are 3-6.
4-6.
4-6. You're right. 4-6. If we end 8-8 or better, we don't have our first back-to-back losing seasons since like the 60s. And I really don't want that to be I don't want to have that. I want to continue to be spoiled, entitled Broncos fan who can say, "Oh, we haven't had back-to-back losing seasons since the 60s." And then Andrew the hater can scoff because he's a Lions fan, and I don't think they've had back-to-back winning seasons since the 60s. But yeah, so really hoping we can finish 8-8. And that's the late Broncos update. Now we can move into Blood Bowl, which is also football related. See, they tie in nicely.
Not so much football related. Sports related?
I mean, Blood Bowl's like kind of fantasy football. Fantasy football.
Fantasy rugby. Yeah.
You can pass in this. You can't pass in rugby.
Forward
pass,
yeah. So I played a fuckload of Blood Bowl. I got 2 league games in and a tournament.
Of 3 games.
It was we're going to start with Thursday. Thursday, I played my game against Ian and the Hunchbacks of Notre Dame. It was an ogre team against my Smashing Samurai, the Lizard Men. Played against Ian for the first time. I would say that Ian has a close chance to being nicer than Nice Paul, where Bullshit Paul's name came from. Nice Paul is another Blood Bowl player, played Skaven for a lot. Ian also ultra nice, one of the nicest people I've played in Blood Bowl. Awesome person. Also a huge 40K player. I nerded out over all of his really cool 40K stuff because he has all the new stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I looked at all of his stuff. That was cool. And it has like a great gaming table at his place that we played on. It went pretty well for me pretty much the whole game. He has an ogre team, so it has 6 ogres. Ogres still have all of the nega traits, so they still have Bonehead. They don't have Loner because it's a whole team of ogres.
Right, yeah.
So having Loner would be real bad.
Oh, yeah, it would.
Because you need a 4+ before you could even reroll on them. Has 5 rerolls. I got like a ton of inducements. I got Sleebly, who's sort of a plus move, block, guard, grab, stand firm Saurus to try and boost up my strength, because fighting against 6 strength 5 guys is real rough. He also has some of the weakest creatures in Blood Bowl. The weakest creature and cheapest. They cost 20k, I believe. And they are Snotlings.
Okay.
They are move 5, strength 1, edge 3, armor 5.
What the?
Yeah. But they come with dodge, sidestep, stunty, and titchy. Titchy is something specifically for snotlings. Titchy is if you ever are dodging, like have to make a dodge roll into one of their tackle zones, they don't give you a negative for that tackle zone because they're so small that they're not going to bother your dodge.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But they also get an additional +1 to their like dodge rolls. So they can, because of stunty, they don't take any negatives for tackle zones for dodges.
Okay.
So they get 2+ dodges, no matter what. At 100% of the time, never worse. I think prehensile tail is the only thing that can give them a negative, which
gotcha.
I had, but it never really came up. Basically, they're there to pick up the ball for the, edge to ogres and try and move the ball around. It was a giant scrum all game, just everyone hitting each other a lot. With Bonehead, he needs to roll a 2+ to do anything with them. And I played an ogre team a million years ago on Fumble, and I don't really remember all of the crazy Boneheads, but man, did he roll a lot of Bonehead. And he was like, nah, that's about average. And I was like, okay, that's fine. if that's fine, all right. Good game. Got a good amount of snotling casualties, which was kind of my goal. They're really easy to cas. Got real close with a lot of skills on my players. No one really hit a skill. Three in the previous game I had no skills. 3 of my guys got skills in this one. 2 skinks and a saurus. Ended up winning that one. Now we go to Sunday. And at this point, David and I need to play a game, but it's also a tournament day. So we had set up in the corner our league match and played a half of Blood Bowl over lunch after the first game of the tournament. The tournament was the Stuffing Bowl. The Stuffing Bowl had an interesting rule where every team could, it was 1.11 million for a team. You had to have exactly 11 players, and every single player got a regular skill. Just no extra cost or anything, just regular skill.
Okay.
Yep.
And if you had a stunty team, every single player got a doubles skill, which made some of those stunty teams a real pain in the ass. My first game was against Frank, a long-term league player, also very nice guy. He had Dark Elves. I was playing Orcs. I was playing a very smashy Orc team. 3 block, 3 guard, 3 mighty blow, 2 dirty player. Because in this tournament, unlike others that have been run, casualties from serfs and fouls counted as well.
Okay.
So I was trying to go for Casualty Cup. Dark Elves really suck when you're trying to hit them because they just dodge away on a 2+ and then you can't really hit them anymore.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was smashing the crap out of him, and he was smashing the crap out of himself. It was very Tucker and Dale.
Nice.
All these kids keep killing themselves. All right, it's been what does he say? It's been a heck of a day. It's been a what? It's been a doozy
of a day.
Doozy. It's been a doozy of a day, officer. He would fail dodges you basically need 1. Then he'd reroll to 1. They'd fall over. They'd break armor, and they'd casualty themselves out.
Sounds about right.
They were killing themselves. Some sort of suicide pact, I can assume. Ended up on a close tie on that one. It was 1-1. And then during the lunch break, David and I got our league match underway. Everyone was like, "Why are you still playing Blood Bowl? Oh, you're doing a league match during this?" And I was like, yeah, because Ian got an extension that sort of fucked us for like when we could play, because David's flying out Monday and he's not going to be back until after Thanksgiving, and that's past the game time. I'm going to be gone like Thursday through Sunday. There was going to be like no way we were going to play, so we had to play Saturday, and we did. So I played Dark Elves the first game of the tournament. Then I played Dark Elves for the league match. So this was the second Dark Elf game of the day.
Surely it was the last one.
Surely the last. He ended up getting fame. We were only 10K difference in our team values, very even teams. But then it sort of went immediately downhill for him as I immediately cashed out some guys. At the end of that first half, I was unable to score because Dark Elves are bullshit, and even though they only have like 5 people on the field, they can kind of get wherever they need to go. And sometimes they're just not dying fast enough. And it was another situation of killing themselves. I think he had 3 go out just on like failed dodges and breaks.
Ooh, that's rough.
It was It was not great. I think at the end of the half, he only had 5 guys left on the pitch. A lot
you should have more.
There was a lot of KOs and stuff like that, but and like I think there was a surf that may have went into reserves, and I was doing pretty okay. David has a super bullshit plus edge leap blitzer.
Okay.
That gets to leap on a like 2+ or something insane. Because there's no modifiers for leap, it's just straight edge. But because he's plus edge, he just gets 2+ leaps. So that was really rough trying to keep him contained. So I hit him a lot and fouled him, but couldn't get him out. So we finished the half. Back to the tournament. Second game of the tournament. Another Dark Elf player.
Shocking.
Yep. This a different Dark Elf team build. It was the first time I'd played this guy. I think his name was Carl, I think. We could never get his name right, and it kept changing. And he had some leaping Dark Elves. Thankfully, though, they killed themselves as well.
That's good.
Because they fail the leap, they break armor, and then they go away. A little tougher for me this match because he was pulling elfy bullshit out of his ass constantly. He only had 2 rerolls, but was making like 5+, 4+, 3+, 3+, 2+ with no rerolls and just going. I mean, they have decent amount of chance for that kind of stuff to happen.
Right.
Usually on 10-15%, but he made it on more than one occasion, and my dice had cooled off by then. So I lost that one 0-1.
Tisk tisk.
Second Dark Elf game out of the way. So that put me against Craig and his halfling team, which had all doubles and 2 star players. Some real outside star players that I hadn't really played against before. They were like they were like humans, like move 6, strength 4, edge 3, armor 8. Both had block and dodge and dauntless. And another one came with the wealth and privilege skill set of stakes.
Nice.
And stab. Stakes is like mighty blow against undead.
Okay.
Which is a skill in Blood Bowl that I totally forgot about.
Didn't know that was one.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's in there.
Yeah. And 2 tree men. Tree men are the biggest of big guys. They're on halflings and wood elves. Move 2, strength 6, edge 1, armor 10.
With the roots.
But they have root, which is the worst nega trait. You roll a 1, and now they sit in place for the entire half until they get knocked down, and that's really it. So at one point, one of them got rooted, but I had a strength advantage, like strength 7 on him, so I hit him.
Oh, there you go.
Because of course I did, because when they have to get up, they need to roll a 4+ to get up, or have halflings adjacent to them to give them +1 per halfling.
Okay.
Yeah. Where it really started going downhill for Craig is, well, when I started smashing all of the halflings out. But also...
When it started to really go downhill is when it started to really go downhill.
Yeah, which was almost immediately. Smashy orc team versus halflings didn't go so well.
Color me shocked.
Yeah, he blitzed with one of his tree men, because, of course, they only moved 2, and so he needed to make 2 go for it to go 4 spaces. Made the first go for it, failed the second go for it, fell down, rolled an 11, rolled a 10, casualtied out his own treeman. Once again, all these kids killing themselves on my property officer. I don't get casualty points if they kill themselves, and I've probably missed out on 7 casualties at this point.
That's probably I'm pretty sure everybody got together beforehand and were like, guys, we cannot let Jeff win this.
No.
We'll just kill ourselves.
Yes.
That is preferable.
Yes. And then I just sort of started picking off all the halflings and just stomping them. I had a ton of KOs of halflings. Most of them came back in, so I was able to smash them again. At the end, I won 1-0 with, I think he had 1 guy left on the pitch because we had basically spent the last 4 turns each. He was just passing at that point. I had a black orc that had just caught the ball on a 6 and was slogging his way down the field 4 spaces at a time. And I was just surrounding one player, one halfling at a time, and fouling it just to get it off.
Nice.
Because you got bonus points for pitch clear. Was only one away from the pitch clear on that one, unfortunately. And won that one 1-0. The trophies got handed out. I was dead center, middle of the pack, 9 out of 18.
Keep being average. Josh.
One below Paul. Paul got 8th with his Amazon team. He was not happy with Amazons at all.
Not surprised.
Really, really hated playing Amazons, but now he never has to play them again for that play all races during badge. Actually, Ant's team name was the Road to 24.
Nice. How many more does he have left to go?
I'm not sure. I'm sure he will inform us on Slack or via text after he listens to this.
Since this is like the one part we know he'll listen to.
Yes.
Correct.
We should just start doing, if we want to talk to him, we just say it during this,
Yes.
and then we'll know he'll be listening.
Correct. All of our private communications through the bloody couple minutes. And now we go to the end of David and I's league game. We had gotten into the bottom of 4 in the second half before we had to go back to other games. He was looking pretty rough. I think we finished out the rest of the game in maybe 20, 25 minutes for the remaining 5 turns each. I just kept getting some more casualties in there and got a score in 1-0. I think I caused like a miss next game on one of his guys. He's got some roughed up dark elves. He's got two niggles now, which is a +1 to the injury die when they get hurt, and he's got a minus armor dark elf.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And he was also miss next game a witch elf into this game, or else we wouldn't have had such a close team value.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he had a witch elf out, or I would have gotten inducements. So I won that one 1-0, placing me second place in the division right now. But Ant still has a game to play. He'll probably pull into second. So I'm sitting at third before Ant plays his second to last game against the Hunchbacks of Notre Dame. And then it's Ant and I once again to close out the season.
To determine who goes and who stays?
I think we're in the top 3. I don't think I'm going to get kicked out of the top 3.
Oh,
we only have 3 playoff slots. So I think I'm safe. I'm also fine with not going to the playoffs because a season 1 Lizardman team going into the playoffs against who knows what veteran teams, I think I would just get hammered on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But then it would come down to David and I for that third spot because he is currently sitting in 4th. So yeah.
There you go.
That's Blood Bowl.
Indeed.
Refined as much as possible.
As much as it can be.
Yeah. It was only like 16 minutes.
It was an amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up the Bloody Minute. And
Bloody 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so now we can move on over to news and Kickstarters.
Yes. Leading up to news, what we've been alluding this whole time, Keyforge is out, and some of those names are real funky.
I think somebody already posted this link in the Slack channel.
Yes.
But we'll have it in our show notes over at milehighgameguys.com. But it's somebody over at heavypunch.com, Heavy Punch Games. They put together a list of like a bunch of ridiculous names that they've been able to come across. I really hope that like somewhere somebody eventually puts together a huge master list or like continually updates one, because I'd be curious to see them. But some of these are great, like Wang the Suddenly Bruised, the Emperor That Pays for Boys, which I'm sure is on the recall list.
Yep.
Titan Flayer, the Farmer of Racism. I think we mentioned last week.
I think we
were
mentioned
talking
both
about
of those. Yeah.
Yes, those I think were the early contenders.
Yeah. The Boy Who Basically Headbutts Heaven. This one I don't get like why this one's on the list. Tasha Window Washer Stilt Zenith.
Maybe just for like, why is that a thing?
Just weird.
Yeah, just weird.
I'll buy that.
He That Curiously Hugs Potency.
The Villain That Digs Up Porridge.
Yep.
General Bone Rider Colt.
Which I think was another one we mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
She That Punches Elephants.
Tomb Dirk, the Teacher of Socialism.
Cliffman, the Organ Scholar of the Forest.
It That Wickedly Supports Taxation.
That's one of my favorites.
What is it?
It That Wickedly Supports Taxation.
Yeah. So just some ridiculous names that somebody put together here.
Endless names of entertainment.
So hopefully there will be more and more of those just to come as people continue to get into these decks and find weird and strange things.
The survivor who grimaces at politics.
He needs to get together with that taxation guy and that socialism guy.
Yep.
That's how you construct the decks.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Next up,
Next up in news, Asmodee has announced a new game, Nosedive, which is based off of an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Which I have never watched.
So I actually just recently finished binge watching Black Mirror. And when I say binge watching, like I binge watched like the first 2 seasons, and then I sporadically watched the 3rd season, and then I watched like 2 episodes of the 4th, and then I went back and finally finished the 4th. Because it's like 6 episodes a season. It's not
So
much.
I'm gonna say you watched.
Yeah.
Black.
It wasn't really binge.
No.
There was a binge, but then the binge tapered off.
On something totally unrelated, I've watched the first 3 episodes of The Americans, and that is good.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. But so Nosedive is one of the episodes from the latest season, season 4, and it is essentially one of those where art meets real life, like China's current little like social status, social media thing, where like if you're friends with people with high status, your status goes up. If you're a friend with people with low status, it goes down. This is kind of like that. So like every time you interact with somebody on your like in your day to day on your phone, you can rate them like you'd rate a Lyft driver or something like that, and then depending on what your rating is, that starts to determine what kind of
Things you get access to.
yeah, what what apartments you can apply to, what jobs you can get, all kinds of things like that. And the further you fall down that list, the harder and harder. Like at one point in the series, the show, the episode, the whole premise behind it is that this girl starts to nosedive in her rankings. She's like always been obsessed with getting into that top percent, and then in the process trips up, and then just every little thing keeps causing her to fall, which stresses her out, which causes her to fall, which like runaways. But she's trying to take a flight, and at one point she can't even, they won't let her board the flight because she drops too low. And then she has a run and she gets upset about it, and so they call security, and just having security called like knocks her rating down so far and things like that. So they've made a board game of it. It's going to be a Target exclusive because that's the
As
thing.
is everything.
Yep. But there's really nothing in this about how the game really will play.
There's going to be an app for it.
Yep, an integrated app, and then 1,000 unique experiences to impress players, important friends, and improve their social standings. So it's light social and strategic gameplay. Is basically all they really say about it. Probably going to be a pretty light game overall, especially with an MSRP of $19.99 and being a Target exclusive. Like it's really Target's really seems to be honing in on that niche entry level like board game market.
Yes.
So
And licenses and stuff like that. So.
yes,
MacGyver.
so.
Yes.
There was an episode of the Orville that was very similar to
Yes.
this as well, except that people wore little upvote, downvote things on their shirts.
And so
It was just like, boop, now fuck you.
in this show, it wasn't quite like a lot of times, like if it was a positive thing, you'd be like, oh, hey, boom, boom. And you'd rate each other and be like, oh yeah, 5-star, 5-star. But you could also like, if you had a bad interaction, like, she turns to walk away from somebody and then gets a ding on her phone where it's like, anonymous rated you like 1 star. And she's like, that had to be you. Like
Yeah.
I know that's you.
This was definitely more of the Orville one was definitely like poking someone on their shirt.
Makes sense for Orville.
Yeah.
Just the kind of show that is.
Yes.
So, it was, I think, Nosedive, I think, was one of the better episodes of season 4.
I thought it was season 3, episode 1.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Because it plays in a weird order where it cuts, like, you watch, like, the way they display their episodes for Black Mirror, because it's not technically serialized.
Yeah.
Although I also was reading a big article that, like, after I finished it, it went and put them all in order because they are all, like, now, it took several seasons in, but they finally released an episode that basically ties everything together and makes it clear that it's in one universe.
Interesting.
And so they did a timeline of like, there's this one, and then this is clearly several years in the future because tech's way more advanced, and then tech's more advanced, and until eventually the final episode's a post-apocalypse scenario.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
But nobody's sure but because of the nature of Black Mirror, you don't know if it's actually post-apocalypse or if it's all in their heads.
Well, you just told us that they're all.
Everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead.
Everyone dies.
That's what I've heard.
Sure.
There's like 2
There's an apocalypse. If it's post-apocalypse, you're telling us an apocalypse
From everything
happened
I've
before
heard,
it.
From everything over the show, there's 2 positive episodes ever.
Yes. Both of which were in the 4th season.
Okay.
Um,
Isn't there like a real there's like a Star Trek one, right?
Yes.
That's one of the positive ones?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that one is super dark.
All right.
Yeah, I really like that one.
I heard that one was very good.
Yeah.
It won an Emmy.
Yeah, that's probably why I remember that
Yeah. That was not one of the happy ones, though.
Noted. Yeah, it's one of those shows I want to watch. I just haven't
Yeah.
had time to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, some of the episodes are definitely better than others. But I really like my favorite episodes. Some of them are just super bleak from the outset, and it's like, well, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Especially like the ones that are set closer to our time because they're way too real. And then the future ones are like, oh, that's just a cool interpretation of how, technology could go wrong. But it won't though. But it won't. But then you watch the ones that are set closer to modern times. It's like, but it already has.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So that's your Black Mirror minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's real good. Go watch Black Mirror if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Next up.
So Race for the Galaxy has a couple versions out there. So they thought, hey, let's make another one. So now there is Race for the Galaxy, the board game. New Frontiers.
Indeed. This one sounds like it's going to be an actual full-on board game. Still building an empire, conquering worlds, developing technology, producing goods, all of that. But this one now adds more diplomacy because it's an actual board game. You're going to be interacting more with the players than you do in any of the other Race for the Galaxy things.
Multiplayer solitaire.
Which is very minimal.
Yeah. But there's going to be 4 different end game conditions, plays 2 to 5 players, and they're saying 45 to 90 minutes. I'm really surprised at how sparse the information on this is, considering they say here that it has a release date of November of 2018, which means there's like, I don't know, a little over a week left for this to release, and there's no information in this article about how it really plays.
Was this announced at all before?
Not that I had heard.
Okay.
I remember hearing something about it, but this was like the first super announcement, I think.
Yeah. So, but still has Tom Lehman, who's done all the other race stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's in good hands at least. Next up on news in game announcements involving space, Z-Man has announced Liftoff.
Yeah, so Liftoff will play 2 to 4 players, take about 60 to 90 minutes. And in it, you are taking on, you're all kind of competing to be the first agency to achieve, space exploration. And you're going to do that by developing skills and technologies and all of the stuff that goes into making successful rockets and launching them. Like, they show things here like first satellites and asteroid mining, and then cards like lead researcher and astronaut commander, that all kind of will play together to help you get your rockets going.
It's got a cool style.
Yeah. I do really like the art style. It's kind of that like Fallout-esque cartoony
very
art.
Retro futuristic.
Yeah. I don't really see here like what, because the goal of the game isn't like just to be the first to launch off. Like you actually are doing different missions. So like, complex missions have bigger payoffs for your agency, but require more work. So I don't know. Again, there's not a lot of information here. But they do have an MSRP here of $59.99 and a release date of spring 2019. So you can go pre-order that now over at Z-Man, or just keep an eye out for it around spring. I'm sure if it's good, people will be talking about it.
Fingers crossed.
Indeed.
Next up in news, Renegade Games has a new game coming out, Revolution of 1828. Not a choo-choo game.
Not a choo-choo game.
Even though you see the numbers 18 in there, it's not.
Nope.
No.
It's the first thing I thought.
Yeah, so this game is based roughly around the election that took place in the U.S. in 1828. It was our 7th presidential, or our election for the 7th president. I don't think it was our 7th presidential election.
No.
But it was between John Quincy Adams and Andrew Jackson. And this was one of the first campaigns that was really well noted for just a ton of mudslinging and smearing and getting really trashy. Something that, American politics have brought back. If you thought we had outgrown that kind of behavior
for the last 190 years, going strong.
However, it's a pretty simple game. I got to play it in the area, and essentially it takes place over a couple different rounds that are like months or quarters of the election cycle or something, like leading up to it. I can't remember how they exactly broke it down, but you're going to be taking tiles. There's different regions broken up into like Southwest, Midwest, Center, and East Coast. And in each region, there's going to be 3 tokens. And you're going to be taking these tokens, trying to win majorities in each of those regions, as well as there's other tokens that allow you to like send bad press over to your opponent. And there was some rule, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked, that where sometimes you had to take from a certain area, so you could force them into having to take one of the bad tokens, which could really hurt them. And then at the end of each round, you total up some points and then reset the board for the next round. And you do that in a couple rounds. It plays really quick. They say 30 to 60 minutes. I think even unless they've drastically changed the rules since March, I don't think it would regularly take anywhere near 60 minutes. But it was fun. I liked it. It's from Stefan Feld. Which this was at the time. This was the first Stefan Feld I'd ever played.
I gotcha.
So yeah, look for it to be on shelves April 2019 for something around MSRP of $30.
Yeah, it seems like a good deal.
Yeah,
for a 2-player game like that. I'm always a fan of.
Yeah, and it is a 2-player game. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I am always a fan of 2-player kind of games like that.
Yeah, that's Revolution 1828.
Next up in news, WizKids has a new game coming out, Kaiju themed, called Smash City. Not King of Tokyo.
Not King of Tokyo, and also not Rampage.
No.
So in this game, it's a dexterity game for 2 to 4 players. It takes about a half an hour to play. And essentially, you have these big oversized foam dice that you're going to be rolling into the city trying to knock over buildings. And as you knock over buildings, they'll release different types of energy as they're destroyed, like radiation, fire, electricity, gas, things like that, which you can use to power up attacks. And yeah, you're trying to smash the city. They don't give a lot of information on how it actually plays besides rolling the dice to knock over the buildings. It does mention things that vehicles and tanks can become weapons themselves in the duel between the kaiju. So I think there's going to be an aspect of fighting each other. So you'll want to like smash a building and then use that to like power up your attack against one of the other players. 4 different monsters, each with different abilities and strengths.
And amazing names, like the Toxiguana.
Oh, is that in the gallery? I hadn't gotten to the gallery yet, so.
Magmalodon.
Colobster.
Colobster.
And
Giga Shogun.
Yes. So yeah.
3 out of 4 is not bad.
No.
That's 75% that's passing.
Yeah.
Shot me anything.
So that's Smash City.
Indeed it is.
Well, last up in news, Gray Fox Games has announced a new partnership with King Raccoon.
Yeah, so King Raccoon is a German publisher that they're partnering up with for all production, distribution, and fulfillment. And the first up in that line is going to be King Raccoon's game, Tsukiyumi Full Moon Down, which is an asymmetrical board game imagining battles fought over the Pacific Basin following the moon falling and smashing Earth.
I remember when this Kickstarter came out, we kept trying to talk about it, but it just never, we kept pushing it, and
it was like, oh shit, it's over, and we didn't actually get to talk about it.
Yeah.
One of the things that did interest me about this game, and why I was bummed we didn't get to talk about it back when it was on Kickstarter, no randomness at all. There are no random elements. It's completely up to your strategic decisions, and the factions are vastly different in terms of abilities, units, and strategies. But that's going to be the first one in that new launch. And then there's an undisclosed number of future projects tied into that. So
very hush-hush.
Yeah. Along with launching the imprint of Social Sloth Games and, picking up their biggest sponsee relationship in Mile High Game Guys, I have to say Gray Fox Games kind of killing it.
Yeah.
It's all because they picked us up as sponsees.
We clearly piqued them.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody knew who Gray Fox was until we were like, hey, guys, we have a new sponsor. It's Gray Fox Games.
Yeah. And now they have yet to begin to peak.
Yes. Oh, right on. Well, that wraps up news, so we can move over to Kickstarters.
First up in Kickstarters today, we have Rallyman GT. Well-funded, 60.4K of its 22.8K funding goal. 1,177 backers, about 2 weeks left to go, and you can pledge this one for about $56.
Yeah, so Rallyman GT is a 1 to 6 player game, takes about 60 minutes. It is a modern version of Rallyman, an older game in this genre. It is shockingly a roll and move game, not a mechanic you see very often.
Ever.
Basically ever.
It seems like unique.
Yeah,
One
well,
of a kind.
certainly not in good games. But essentially the way it plays is you determine starting order and everything by rolling, and then whoever's in the pole position, the first position, they become first player. And on your turn, you're going to lay out a series of dice into spaces.
And we should mention that the track is
full-
hex-based tiles.
Yeah, fully modular
Yep.
hex-based track,
Which
so you can customize the track every time you play.
So very different from Formula D, where it's all just pre-printed
Yeah.
racetracks.
Correct. There's going to be 32 double-sided track tiles, so there'll be a lot of variability there. But essentially, you're going to be laying out the dice, and there's 3 different types. There's speed dice, coasting dice, and braking dice. And so you use the speed dice, as you can imagine, to speed up. Braking dice slow you down, and coasting dice, you just kind of coast. Almost like it's all right there in the name. But you lay them out to show like what you're planning to do for your maneuver as you go into like a corner or something. You might use your braking dice. As you come out of a corner, you use your acceleration dice on the straightaways, coast, things like that. And once you've chosen that, you have a choice. So as you roll the dice, they're going to have warning signs. And as you build up warnings, if you hit enough warnings across your dice, you're going to lose control and crash. So once you've laid them out, you get a choice. You can either go and roll your dice one by one, which will let you end your turn whenever you feel like you're getting too many of those warnings and you don't want to risk losing control. You can stop your turn short so you won't make it as far. Or you can go flat out and you roll all the dice at once. If you do that, you gain a bunch of focus tokens, which are a resource that basically allow you to guarantee a die roll will pass without a warning. So you can go flat out, get a bunch of those focus, and then on the next turn lay out a bunch of dice and just put focus tokens on them to make sure they succeed. So it's kind of a balance there of, go big, go home, risk reward type thing. You keep doing that until you win the race, or lose or whatever, until the race is done.
Seems like it has a lot of similar mechanics from a lot of the racing board game world,
like Formula Day.
Yeah, so like various tire types or an amount of brakes you can burn, etc.
Yeah, which they have asphalt and rain tiles in the base game. The Kickstarter version is going to add soft tires as a different board option. So basically you choose which boards you have, and that'll affect how the different dice actually work for you.
Seems interesting.
Yeah. Once you pick them at the start of the game, you're stuck with them unless you do a pit stop, which will slow you down, or you can swap them out, things like that. So I don't know. Looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be terrible at it because I'm terrible with dice. I liked Formula Day, other than the fact that I was terrible with dice. I really liked Formula Day's like shifting
For the gears.
up and down shifting mechanic.
Yeah.
This one looks like it has some similar interesting kind of decisions to make about what dice to use and where.
Yeah. You don't always have to roll.
Indeed.
Yeah. And there is a full rule book on there.
Yep.
Which always helps.
Yeah. Looks like it's going to be just a shit ton of components too.
Yeah.
Which is good for the price.
Yeah. Next up in Kickstarter, we have Grindhouse. Almost funded, $22,000 of its $30,000 goal. 423 backers. About a week left to pledge, which you can for $59.
Yeah, so this is a narrative horror game for 2 to 6 players. You each get a character, and then you're going to be going in and trying to make it through this Grindhouse. So the way it works
Not the
essentially... Not the movie. No, there are 4 different rooms that you have to work your way through. And so on your turn, you choose to go to one of the rooms, you draw a couple of cards, and you choose one of them to play and one of them to put back. And you keep doing this until all 4 of the main rooms are solved, and there's one final room where you're trying to get out. And if you succeed, then you survived, you win. As you go through this, though, a lot of these cards are going to be hurting you. In fact, for some of them, like one of the ones they show an example of, there is no option that doesn't hurt you. It's just a matter of where you get your wounds. And so on the player boards, you have your little picture of your player at the start, and they're all healthy and looking good. But then as you take damage, you put these new tiles over that kind of replace the art with like a damaged, wounded version of yourself. It's like they have a little gif of Evan, one of the characters, who goes from like looking good to like Then he's got a hand that's bandaged and like splinted with a piece of 2x4. And then like he's got a bunch of bandages on his other arm, and then bandages on his legs. And then like he's missing an arm, and then missing a leg, and then missing another leg, and then missing an arm, and then finally his head's gone and he's dead. So as you take these wounds, it's going to keep hurting you and making you harder and harder for you to continue surviving.
But he was fine until he lost the head.
And
When
Yeah.
he had no arms or legs, but he was okay. He was floating in the air.
He was like the Black Knight.
Yes, exactly.
If you do die, you become a ghost, and you get a ghost power like the one they show here. Reveal this when you die. At the end of each room, you may wound 2 survivors' limbs of their choice. If no players survive, you win. So as people die, they become these ghosts that become antagonistic and try and keep you from winning.
So dying doesn't mean
You're
like
out.
player elimination,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah, $39 for the base pledge. That $59 for everything plus the expansions, Carnival and Cthulhu expansions. Because of course Cthulhu expansion.
Of course.
Yeah,
You can't have horror without Cthulhu. Do you know that?
clearly, especially not in board game world.
Nope.
Surprised there's not a zombie expansion.
And there is pretty much $10 to $15 shipping, $10 US, $15 pretty much everywhere else in the world.
So really, you're looking at like a $49 to $69 pledge.
Yes.
For a 20 to 30 minute card game. So bear in mind.
Bear in mind.
But yeah, I really like what they did with the player boards. Those seem interesting. Otherwise, it seems like maybe a simpler version of like a Betrayal. You know, the way they have you exploring the rooms more
Yeah.
abstractly than Betrayal, where you're actually exploring the rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Grindhouse.
Looks good. Next up is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice, which is a board game.
Yes.
Extremely well funded, 537,000 of its $99,000 goal, over 4,800 backers, and about 2 weeks left to go. And you can pledge this one for a mere $120.
Yeah, so this is the ridiculous $100+ mini game of the week.
Yes.
It is a cooperative game.
You're assassins in Venice.
Yeah.
If anyone has played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or any of the Assassin's Creed games, this takes place between Brotherhood and Revelations.
Yes.
Which is 2 and 3 of the Ezio trilogy.
Yes, but technically the third and fourth game that came out.
Yes.
But the fifth one was actually 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
They Grand Theft Auto'd it. So.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, it's 1 to 4 players, cooperative game, and essentially you're all different assassins who are working for Ezio. None of you are Ezio. And you're trying to develop the headquarters of the assassins there in Venice. Like Jeff said, between Brotherhood and Revelations. You're going to be using your skills, equipment, and tactics to complete a bunch of different objectives while trying to remain undetected. There will be Templars, of course, because it's Assassin's Creed, and Assassins versus Templars is their whole thing.
Or it was, at least.
Yeah.
At this point during the lore.
Yeah, I haven't really kept up.
Assassin's Creed Origins was the start of the Assassins and whatnot, and then Odyssey takes place before that. So,
Yes.
What the fuck? Okay.
I thought Origins was Egypt.
Yep. This is an
And
ancient...
Odyssey is actually before the Egypt one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ancient Greece, yeah.
Okay.
Like 100 years before, something like that.
But I bet you have all those cool assassin tech things.
Wrist blades.
No,
Just
no,
spears
you
and
just
shit.
have spears. You just stab the fuck out of people. Like
Oh.
you don't
Okay.
you don't really care. You're like
That
I
boar-
don't, I don't, yeah, I'm
That
just
boar's
gonna-
going down.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not an assassin's blade of
No.
boar.
No,
Okay, then. Anyway, back to this game.
Yes.
Uh,
With all the cool stuff.
Yeah. So that's about all that I really saw here for gameplay on how you actually play. But they've got a shit ton of miniatures. So if you've ever
Yeah.
wanted a bunch of Assassin's Creed miniatures,
Or Leonardo da Vinci.
tanks,
Inventions.
and, yeah.
Ezio is a model you can buy.
Yep.
As well. It's about
well,
$7.
a different Ezio model.
Oh, yes, a different.
And then during the Kickstarter campaign, you'll get a free tower mini, which is 10 inches tall. So,
9.5, sir.
No, I'm just trying to make it seem better. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Things
12
you can jump
12
off of. clearly.
standalone ladders. So you just have ladders standing around in the middle of your board that do.
Yep.
Yeah, and then a whole bunch of cards, all kinds of stuff.
All the guards for you to murder.
Stealth plays an option, plays a part of this game.
Yeah.
Which you'd hope so.
Right. Whole bunch of unlocks have already been done, including a secret boss that they're not revealing, even though it's been unlocked. They're currently coming up on the $700,000 stretch goal of chest minis, and then at 715,000, more blunt weapons. So, yeah.
Never have too many blunt weapons.
Indeed.
One thing I don't see on here at all yet is a rule book.
I think it's so their previous game V Commando
Okay.
I think it's a
Beta version of rules and campaign booklets is pretty far towards the bottom.
Okay.
In both English and French.
And I think it's similar to their first game.
Yeah.
They sort of co-opted into this theme.
Yeah. And actually down here I did find the gameplay section finally, buried way down towards the bottom.
As is tradition.
Yeah. So you're trying to complete memories, and you're going to complete the objectives listed in the campaign book, some of them being optional, then exit the memory map. It plays in turns, so you draw an event card, then you take actions, which include move, attack with weapon, assassinate with hidden blade, use special ability, use equipment, remove enemy body and draw equipment, climb a synchronization tower, keep an action in reserve. So 8 different actions.
Synchronization towers. All right.
Yeah.
Now we're climbing towers in our board games.
Yeah, we are.
Because it's in every video game.
Yeah.
Yep. Guards take their actions, which are reinforcements, more of them and stronger if there is an alarm active, movement towards any exposed assassins, and then attack any assassins that are within range. So you want to remain stealthy to avoid triggering that alert, or get ready to fight a bunch of guards. After the memory is complete, you go back to the HQ where you exchange loot, heal wounded, train apprentices, so on. They have specific dedicated envelopes for each memory, which are the missions that include events, equipment cards, all of those that go into the decks. There's the towers that as you climb on top of them to synchronize, you're going to reveal items and things. Then, yeah, a whole bunch of other things, stealth trophies, leveling up as you do more and more stuff, you get more and more powerful. Yeah, a whole bunch of things.
If you like Assassin's Creed and a bunch of, I don't know, guard minis from 1502.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Here's your spot.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of these minis I feel would work super great in D&D. Like, a couple of them you could. Like, you could have, like, one of those guard minis be, like, a warrior in plate armor. But,
yeah,
you don't need 10 of them for that.
But for this, you do.
For this, you do.
And that's why it's $120.
Indeed. $100 miniature game of the week. So, Assassin's Creed. That's it.
Next up on Kickstarter is Hero Realms Journeys. Very well funded, $237,000 of its $50,000 goal, almost 4,200 backers, and 2 weeks left to go, with its extremely most majorly popular pledge being $45.
Indeed. So this is basically 6 new expansion sets for Hero Realm, as well as an awesome offer for new players.
Yes.
So, Jeff, I'll let you take it away with this as our resident Hero Realms, Star Realms expert.
Owner of all.
Yes.
Yeah. So the main pledge in the Kickstarter is going to come with basically all the new stuff. If you have everything else already, this is the new stuff. There's these new Journeys packs, and Ancestry packs. Ancestry packs add races into the game, so it's not just like fighter, cleric, thief, wizard.
Now you get race and class.
Yes.
Going full D&D here.
Yes. Now you have things like ogre and orc and halfling, or I think they call them small folk. Yes. But you can combine those in with your classes. So now you have race and class specific cards in your starter decks. There is also going to be a new campaign that is coming out called The Lost Village. It's going to be similar to the Ruins of Thandar campaign, where it's going to have a bunch of...
Picks up where that one left off, I believe.
Yeah. A bunch of new upgrades and things like that. The Hunters and Travelers packs are similar to a lot of the previous like Star Realms expansions, where they add like some very specific cards into... Well, they add cards into the game, but they all have a specific theme. So in Star Realms, it would add like a bunch of stations or a bunch of like one-time use Gambit cards, where this is going to add new champions and actions and stuff to the market deck. Basically just, here's more cards and not a full like thing. Because Star Realms has now had 3 full box expansions with Colony Wars and Frontiers. Hero Realms has not had that yet. I guess their first full new thing was the campaign.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the new stuff.
Yeah. There's optional buys for playmats. Some of those playmats are fucking sweet.
Yes.
Some of them not as much. Keening bat form, I don't need that.
Yeah, the playmats I think were something that didn't start in the campaign, and people were like, "We want playmats," and then they were like, "All right, here's some fucking playmats."
People are crazy about playmats.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
They even have as exclusive add-ons stuff for Star Realms, including like Stellar Allies, Lost Fleet, more playmats.
So a lot of the add-ons for Star Realms are a lot of the Kickstarter exclusive stuff.
Okay.
The Stellar Allies, Lost Fleet, and the Kickstarter promo pack were specifically Star Realms Frontiers Kickstarter exclusive stuff.
Okay.
So that's how they're passing that along into this.
There's also add-ons for sleeves. So if you're the kind of person who sleeves these games, they have add-ons for like $45. Get the Mega Pack, 540 Hero Realms, and 200 clear sleeves that will cover every card in the everything tier. So
it's a good thing I have already bought all of these sleeves at various Gen Con trips, and also clear sleeves. Except I used Fantasy Flight clear sleeves, and then the Hero Realms, like actual printed sleeves. They don't really match up size-wise, but you never actually shuffle them. You never shuffle the clear ones in anyways, so.
Wow. The small folk, so with the races, you get an ancestry card that shows health modifications and special rules, a skill or ability card that will start in play, and then 2 cards that modify your starting deck.
So very similar to how the class decks worked.
Yeah. The thing that the small folk, their ancestry card that shows those health modifications and special, there's no special rules for small folk. It's just minus 15 health.
Well, I would assume
so
that
I'm
they're
guessing the other 3 cards must be really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like the Orc ability, Battle Rage.
Well, that is one of their ability cards, not just their health modifier.
Yeah.
The health modifier one doesn't actually show any abilities.
No?
Even the Orc one wouldn't show any abilities. Because that is
or
not the
maybe
health.
some kind of a special, because it says the ancestry card shows health modifications and special rules.
It might just be the opposite side.
Oh, that might be.
Yes. They double side pretty much all of these class cards with the rules on the other side.
Okay.
That's how the fighter worked, where it would have the fighter card on one and then all the rules on the other side. But yes, the Orc Battle Rage is pretty nice. Scrap, and you can spend money as attack this turn.
Yeah.
Once per game. There will be a little bit of deck shuffling with some of these cards because they will replace certain cards in the deck. It's not just adding more starter deck cards. Like the Elf one, it just replaces a gold, but that now is either a gold or heal 2. And of course, the campaign. Still need to play through that original Hero Realms campaign. But it is all sleeve now.
Right on.
Shipping not super friendly on this one. $10 to $16 for the US and $15 to plus for pretty much everywhere else reasonable.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shockingly pledged this one.
No, don't. No way.
Thought I knew you better than that, Jeff.
Yeah. They are thinking of adding in a Star Realms-esque like ultimate box for Hero Realms, so you can kind of keep everything in one big box. But no news of that yet.
You'll probably be able to pick it up at next Gen Con. You specifically. Can
Yes,
go get it.
me specifically. That was the biggest thing I bought at Gen Con last year was that box.
Biggest thing you bought was empty inside.
Yep. Did actually come with cards.
Oh, okay.
And a significant amount of foam.
It didn't come with just one foam?
It did not. It came with very well fitted foam as well. Good. They actually will keep cards back. And that's it for Kickstarters.
That is it for all of that. Which brings us over to listener feedback, where we have a pair of emails, a trio of emails.
Yeah.
Where we have
maybe 2.1 emails.
Yeah. Where we have some emails.
Yes. Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email or 3. First up is from Veronica. Hi, Game Guys. I just started listening to the MHGG podcast.
Well, you might want to just mention that it was this from Facebook. Like it was sent to our email through Facebook.
Yes.
So just clarification. You can also reach us on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how it got sent to our email versus our Facebook inbox because it wasn't there. That's where I tried looking for it, but
it was there just to fuck with you.
Correct. But yes. Anyway, it continues or begins.
Yes. Hi, Game Guys. I just started listening to MHGG recently, and I really enjoy your podcast. I think you're all pretty funny. I haven't
At this point, I should stress that we actually know this person
Yes, we
in
do.
real life.
We do.
So,
And she's very nice.
yes.
I haven't listened to every single episode yet, so maybe I'm just missing this content via limited sample pool, but would it be possible for you to talk about some Kickstarter games that are a little bit more affordable?
I'd keep reading. We'll address it when you...
I was about to continue reading.
It
Then
sounded
started
like
talking.
you paused. Like
No.
we were...
It's for dramatic effect.
You just
I
started.
thought you were waiting for us to answer the question.
No, you just started talking.
Yeah, as I do.
The games you talk about are super cool, and I would love to own quite a few of them, but the vast majority are well out of any budget I might have for a game on the average week. It's also out of all of our budgets, too.
Yes.
Every once in a while, if you could have a more affordable game corner where you talk about a smaller game that might not normally take your notice, but sounds kind of fun. Games below $40 counting shipping? If this is something you guys already do and I just haven't come across it yet, I apologize, and please disregard my email. Thank you for releasing so much new content every week. I look forward to continued listening. Sincerely, new listener V.
Yeah, so even our, like, with Kickstarters, yeah, we just kind of look at, like, what's new and what's going on. I don't normally take price into consideration.
Yeah.
Even, like, when we joke about the $100 Kickstarter of the week or whatever, that's just because Kickstarters are increasingly, if they have minis, are going to be hundreds of dollars. It's not that we necessarily seek out a $100 miniature game for the week. I would love to cover more affordable ones, especially because I can barely afford anything at all, including games right now. There's just increasingly fewer of those, especially $40 including shipping. That's getting quite.
Yeah, I think our cheapest one this week was the Hero Realms, like, all in new stuff pledge at $45.
There was the $39 plus $10 shipping for one of them.
So 49.
Yeah.
Which is more than the 45.
Well, that 45 didn't include shipping, did it?
No.
Yeah.
But why would you pay that $39 when you could pay $49 for the Deluxeified edition?
Yeah, see, exactly.
Or $56
and then
or
it
whatever.
rapidly becomes ridiculously
Yes.
expensive. Yes. As is the trend on Kickstarters these days. Yeah, we cover them as they come up. I'll try to keep an eye out on and try and include one that's somewhat reasonably priced here and there. But as long as they're interesting.
Yeah,
that's the other tricky thing. A lot of the really cheap games just either aren't funding or aren't interesting or what not.
All the big ones are all crazy insanity type stuff.
Indeed.
Yeah. But we have, from time to time, we do find some cheaper ones.
Yeah.
Like the Expedition series games are like $10.
The Mint games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my Tramways notebook was only like $20. So,
Yeah.
So if
there's good stuff out there.
If you want to be a little disappointed and spend $20.
I mean, I think it was worth $20. Anyway, next email. And thank you, V, for sending us an email.
Yes, thank you very much.
We can just tell you in person on like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Also, yes.
Next up is from Alexandra, right? Alexandre.
He's French.
It's French.
It's not just that it's a French name. He's actually French.
He's actually French. Hey, MHGG. It is so titled. It is Saturday night in inebriety. Is that a word?
I mean,
it's
French?
loading for me, so I can't see how it's pronounced.
he's trying to. I don't think it's in French. No, but
like inebriated?
Yeah.
Inebriety?
Yes. It's Saturday night inebriety, as Adrian has now coined.
I don't know if that's an actual word, but I think
now.
that's what he's going for.
Inebriety. Yeah.
So it's MHGG mail time. A few remarks / questions. Adrian talks about heavy games from
quote
time
unquote
to time.
heavy games.
Yeah, quote unquote heavy games. From time to time, for example, Food Chain Magnate. But I don't remember hearing him talk about 18XX games. Does he enjoy them?
No.
Play them?
Nope.
Lost the possibility to play them since Edward moved from Denver?
100%. All right. So we've answered those. So just go on to the next.
Shut up, Zach. Shut up. Yes, Alexandre, I do love 18XX games. I've played a handful of them. Most recently, I mean, it's been a while since I played one. I think the most recent one I played was back at HeavyCon in like April or May, where I played 18 Chesapeake, which I thought was fantastic. I've played 1830, 1889, and a couple other ones. But yeah, I do really like 18XX. It's just no one else besides Bullshit Paul in our immediate friend group has any interest in them.
And you can only do so much with him.
Yeah. And then yeah, with heavy cardboard kind of falling apart, I haven't done as good a job of staying in touch with some of the heavy gamers from that side of the local group. So I haven't got to play as many of them, but I would really, really like to. I do really, really enjoy 18XX. So yeah.
And I've luckily been able to keep Jeff away from them. So.
Yeah, Zach. I've even gotten Zach to play one, and he enjoyed it up until he didn't.
It was a hard switch.
It was a very hard switch. It was funny almost to watch in person, where you could see, like, oh, okay, this is fun, this is fun, this is fun. Oh, there's the wall.
There's the wall, and then there's half the game, which was like the final turn or some bullshit like that.
Gross. He continues. 2 of you, if I remember correctly, play Lovecraftian lore board games, but you don't talk a lot about the Arkham Horror LCG, though I remember someone, Jeff, mentioning it on Slack. Moderate interest, lack of time to dig into the campaigns, lack of interest for deck construction, but it seems contradictory for the interest for band construction for Blood Bowl. I guess he's trying to compare like constructing a deck to building a team.
Yeah.
In Blood Bowl. Building a team in Blood Bowl is pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot of options there.
Right.
There is small variations you can do. I really like the Arkham Horror LCG.
Yes, we did.
Everything was out of print when I really liked it, so I couldn't find it, so I couldn't buy it. And then so much was coming out still when I was trying to build in that back like first set that I just completely fell off trying to catch up or buy everything. Yeah. And now it's sort of a horde of Arkham LCG
as
product.
most LCG things. If you can't be aggressive about keeping up to date, you just fall behind so quickly.
Yeah. And it was hard to keep track of like what I did own, what I needed to own, what was out of print, what was in print. Is this the one I have? Is this the one I need? And
then also just I think finding the time to do that consistently would have been hard.
Yeah. For how popular it was and how much it was not available. I think it's all pretty much available.
But now you just have the Arkham Horror game.
Yeah.
3rd edition.
Yeah.
So there you go.
We did actually review Arkham Horror LCG.
We did.
Episode 35.
Oh, that's so long ago.
Wednesday, March 1st, 2017. So that was the review a week before my birthday, too.
Oh.
So, yeah. So episode 35, if you want to hear our review of Arkham Horror LCG.
Which is pretty much just the core set.
Yes. Because that's almost all that was out at the time, especially.
Adrian, how's your dog? Still shitting in the wrong spots? I'm really looking forward to the time I have a stable job and enough money to live in a house farther away from the city center and with a dog.
She's good. Since I started sweeping / shoveling the deck, it's the only part of my house that I shovel and or sweep when it snows. She has not had any more
porch-related
shitting on the
incidents.
Wrong spots. Yeah. I was trying to tell the story at the Friendsgiving, and people kept jumping away ahead. When I had mentioned that she couldn't tell the difference between like the porch and the ground. Like somebody thought she tried to like jump off the porch onto the ground and like hurt herself. And then when I was talking about like her shitting on the porch, somebody else chimed in and was like, "Oh, it's because you need to put her on her leash and walk her to where you want her to potty, and then she'll potty over there." And it was like, no, she knows she has a spot. It's only when it snows. It's not that she doesn't know where to potty.
You just got to get better at telling stories so people
clearly, or people need to not jump into the middle of a story and assume they know what's going on.
Well, it's just your story was so boring. We needed to fill in the gaps.
Eat so many dicks, Jeff.
I had heard the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you guys had both heard the story on the show.
Yes.
So that's why we know it was bad.
Yeah.
God damn it. Fuck you, Zach. Such assholes.
He continues. Carry on with your really fun podcast. Have a lot of fun with board games and snow. Your most devoted and only until proof of the contrary French listener, Andre. Alexandre.
Wow.
I just read the Andre
you
part.
forgot the Alex part.
Yeah, I forgot the Alex part. I'm just going to say Alex.
Sure.
P.S. Fuck Thunderbird for assuming that if I want to type in English, it has to be in American English. British English for the win. Use to colors, to neighbors, and to other stuff.
Thunderbird, I think, is like Firefox.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, so.
PPS.
My first car was a Thunderbird.
Could you recommend me a kind of beer I may be able to find in a beer specialized shop in France? I appreciate brown/dark beers with a rather strong taste and don't mind 6 to 8% alcohol beers. I have no idea.
Well, then that's the worst. The not the worst thing, but the thing I don't really know what would be available in France in that realm. I feel like if you want a brown or dark beer with strong taste and 6 to 8%, like maybe like a Tripel or a Quad, like a Belgian.
Yeah.
I got to assume France would have some Belgians in their beer stores.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Belgian style.
Same here.
I'm on this random list that I don't necessarily trust to actually be particularly true. The list here of the best French beers. Number 1, Kronenberg 1664 at 5.2% alcohol.
Kronenberg beer. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it for human Kronenbergs?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
That one doesn't look very dark. Another one that doesn't look super dark here that actually I would trust more. Saint Sylvestre Tremont. I don't know. 3 MONTS, which I'm assuming is months in French, but I don't know. It's been years since I studied French. Duyac Genlain Ambry. Another Kronenberg, which is really like Kronenbourg. It's not spelled like Kronenberg, BERG.
Not like the director.
It's BOURG. Yeah, different. The Pelforth Brune at 7 is 6.5% alcohol and is dark as all shit. So
it's a shit. It's a shit dark.
It is dark. Castellane Châty Ambry. Yeah, there's a few. I don't know any specifically because I'm not really super familiar with French beer. If you come to Denver ever, I know a brewery that is slightly got a French twist on their brewing. So I can take you there.
Which one?
T-Bolt.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't be more help with the beer there, Alexandre.
Yeah. And then he sent a second email titled, "Hey, second part." Oh shit, I forgot my last question. Are any of you participating in a kind of Secret Santa dedicated to board games? I will participate for the first time, specifically to Secret Elephant.
I think it's a heavy cardboard. Secret Santa.
And I'm a bit excited at the thought of writing my Santa letter once I have completely sobered up. Cheers, Alexandre.
First of all, you shouldn't wait to sober up. You should just write it drunk, and then it'll be even better.
Yes. Drunk Santa letters.
I have not really done any Secret Santas.
No.
Outside of like very small, like, maybe I think like maybe in high school or college, like a class did them. So it was like a dozen people doing one very localized, simple one. But like I know there's a lot of board game ones. Like I think the board game subreddit, Our Board Games, is doing a huge, massive Secret Santa. I know Heavy Cardboard does a Secret Elephant. So there's a bunch of different things like that. But I've never done one. So
Nor have I.
I have not either.
Yeah.
That's it for emails.
That is indeed it for emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would want to send an email.
Yeah. We did have, after I called him out last week, we had a new comment from Paulo's Corner on our Dice Forge review where Paulo said, "Agree with you guys. Really like the game for what it is and how fast it plays. If it was more than 1 hour, I wouldn't like it due to the huge amounts of luck it has. It's the problem I have with Die Quacksalber von Quedlinburg. But it's fast, it's fun, it's very well produced, and looks good on the table." Was
the Quacksilver the Spiel des Jahres award winner this year, or was that just nominated?
Nominee? Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah. It was, it won the more complicated one.
Enthusiast.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would be...
Kenner Spiel?
Kenner, yeah.
And that was actually getting an American reprint, or American print. Yeah. English print, there you go. Next couple days. Or weeks.
Soon.
End of the month.
Time frame.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think it's end of the month. I could be wrong. So very tired.
Only a couple hours left.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for
that is
feedback.
Indeed it for listener feedback. We do have more new patrons because that's been a thing that's been happening a lot lately, which I'm super excited about. So huge thanks to Paul K, not bullshit Paul, for upping their pledge level. We really appreciate that. Also, thanks to Ofer for editing his pledge as well and bumping it up after he took the $1 ripping and bumped it up, which is apparently the thing to do these days. Mm-hmm. They do the $1 rip and then bump up.
Mm-hmm.
And then V from the earlier email, also new patron at $5. So thank you.
She went straight to the 5.
Yeah.
Maybe she was like, I can't handle a $1 rip. I can't do it.
she was chit-chatting with me about the podcast a couple weeks ago, and she was like, yeah, I listened to all the like banter and stuff like that, and then I just sort of like stopped listening around Kickstarters.
It was like, you've missed a lot.
You have no idea what we do after that, do you?
Yeah.
This is the treat for the real fans. They make it through all that bullshit, and then they get...
Yeah.
Yes, this is a treat. This right here, this high quality content right here.
This is
why
the
people
second
listen.
as
dessert
high quality as anything else.
second dessert.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thanks to all of our patrons over there on patreon.com.
Yes, definitely.
/Mile High Game Guys. You guys are the reason we have the new mics.
Mm-hmm.
Why you can hear everything.
Everything. And you're the reason that hopefully we will eventually, sometime very soon, have cameras and start doing live streams.
Yeah.
Shooting for first quarter 2019.
Just stop buying all that shit for MHDD.
Yeah.
Whoa. I bought mics, which will also apply to live streams.
It's true.
It's all part of the same.
How convenient.
Plan.
We should use someone's
Yes, it was very convenient.
We should use someone's $5 to get another light bulb in.
Yeah.
You want 2 bare bulbs in this room, Jeff?
Well, we're gonna have to do video in here at some point.
Yeah.
How many bare bulbs can light this place?
I mean, I got like 3 outlets in this room.
All right.
Bare bulb into each one.
We're gonna blow them fucking breakers.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
We already can't plug in more than one thing in that socket at a time.
There are 2 things plugged into that socket right now, sir.
Well, one counts as an iPad. It's like 1 volt amp.
Anyhow, if you would like to get a hold of us, there are plenty of ways to do so. You can always send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I'm Jeff_MHGG.
We have Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys. And we have our BGG guild number 2731, where there are weekly episode posts where you can give feedback, questions, comments about the games we're going to be reviewing, the Friday episodes we're going to be doing, as well as follow up to any of the other ones. Just dump them in the weekly post.
Yeah, which will already have the next one up now, so it gives it people extra time for our new top 10 that we'll be doing.
Which our top 10, not this Friday, but next Friday, will be the top 10 games that fired other games.
Or some other better title that
Zach's working on.
Yeah. Or a worse title. Or a different title.
Yeah. But
that's game replacements, basically. So yeah.
Yes.
Why would I ever play this other game when now I can play this game instead?
That's better. Yeah. And then always be sure to go check out our website, milehighgameguys.com, where there are show notes featuring links to all of the news and Kickstarter items we talk about, as well as links to our Slack channel that anyone can join. It's open to any of our listeners who want to come bullshit with us in Slack. There's also links to that BGG guild and over to that patreon.com /milehighgameguys in case you want to support the show financially, which we do super appreciate. And yeah, plenty of ways to get in touch with us and support the show, whether it's just through bashing us on Slack to keep us on our toes or giving us actual constructive things on BGG, whatever. And because I haven't plugged it in a while, be sure to go check out punchboardmedia.com. We're proud members of Punchboard Media, a whole bunch of awesome content creators over there. Whether you want audio, video, written, all of it. There's a whole bunch of great stuff over there.
New audio magazine, The Shuffle, is on there now.
I think The Shuffle is the what did you play this week turned into.
But now it is a audio magazine or
something like that. Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting how they're doing it.
Yeah. As well as our good friends over at Draft Mechanic, the awesome fellas up at Boards Alive, as well as tons of other great content creators. What's Eric Playing, doing awesome photography and written reviews. All kinds of awesome people over there at punchboardmedia.com. Go check it out.
Yeah, if you listen all the way through the end music, you can also hear the Punchboard Media music.
Yes.
Yes.
And finally, to wrap things up, as always, huge thanks to our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. Their Kickstarter Reavers of Midgard just wrapped up at the beginning of the week. Was a great success. Can't wait to get our hands on that. And their earlier Kickstarter, City of Gears, a steampunk game of exploration, area control, worker placement, and strategy, will be coming out next month, as its Kickstarter is rapidly approaching fulfillment. So if you want to build a whole bunch of interconnected gear things across a city as you compete for control over the City of Gears, go check out City of Gears, greyfoxgames.com, City of Gears.
Zach and I actually played it at Gen Con.
That's right, you did.
Yes. Very interactive.
Yes, it is.
Not just a nice, friendly move around a board and let's do the best we can. Definitely a no, fuck you, take this, take that type style game of exploration and minis and tons of gears.
Yeah.
And some dice.
Yeah, we'll be touching more on that over the next couple of weeks leading up to its release. So expect to hear more about its gameplay and mechanics and everything.
Been looking forward to it.
Yeah. So
got to meet the designer there.
Chris Leader?
Yeah.
Or Daryl Andrews?
Chris, I believe.
Cool.
He was his first eyes. We were there for his first eyes on the finished production copy.
Oh.
He was very excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement to go along with this Gray Fox spot?
Absolutely. Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. Also, stealth camouflage. Can't you even die right?
Digging real deep. There are only so many.
Oh, no, there are many, many, many more.
Yeah.
Some longer than others.
Yeah.
There's only so many short ones is the real problem.
Yeah. There's a lot of cutscenes in those games, especially the later end ones.
Right on. Well, yeah, that wraps up the episode. Be sure to tune in on Friday where we will be reviewing Between Two Castles of the Mad King Ludwig from Stonemaier Games. And then next week, in addition to the normal banter episode, we'll have our next top 10 games that replaced other games or killed them or fired them or whatever you want to use for terminology for games that do what another game does but better. Yeah, that brings it all to a close. As always, I have been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm middle of the pack, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Cronenberg beer. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it for human Cronenbergs?
Or... I don't believe so.
Okay.
It does not look dark.
Ow. That was very loud.
You've upset the dog.
Yeah, well.
Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.